All right. So what's up, guys? How y'all doing? It's Dontavious Hill, three-time Team USA high jumper. I'm on the call right now with Houston and his dad, Nate. Houston just came off a big competition, and we're just gonna hear from them today. So, guys, can you give us a quick introduction of you guys?
I'm Houston. I go to Cuthbertson High School in North Carolina. But my dad.
I'm the dad.
All right. And yeah, Houston, just want to ask, so what was your PR, before this weekend where we just had the big one?
That would be 6'6".
And what grade are you in currently?
I am a junior.
All right, so Houston had a 6'6" PR this season. And just a little background, Mr. Nate kind of reached out to me and whatnot. And we got Houston plugged in probably about 3 weeks ago. And
Right.
just in the past, 3 weeks, he just recently went from 6'6" to 6'8". And you guys are heading to nationals now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One important fact is that probably 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks, 2 weeks ago, I went ahead and bought the plane tickets, secured the hotel, reserved the rental car. He had to have 6'7" to compete in Philadelphia, and I believed he could do it.
That's what I'm talking about. Like,
Yeah, man.
actually, just believing in your son and just going ahead and booking those things. Like, that's what I'm talking about, Mr. Nate. And I do want to ask, like, I know you say you knew he could do it. Like, what have you kind of seen from him, just in the past,
Right.
like, few weeks, development wise, approach wise, trying to get to this next goal?
Right. Houston is not a person who climbs and plateaus and then climbs and plateaus. He's always on the rise, right? He's always improving whatever it is he's doing. So he has a lot of hobbies and interest and things that he's passionate about, and he is consistently growing in all those areas. And so, high jump has become the focus, and a key piece is that he stopped playing lacrosse, he stopped playing football to focus on this. And for Houston, it's about the whole of his life, right? So it's a very holistic approach in terms of it's about his eating, his sleeping, his student activities, of course, his education, and all of those things combine into success for him. So since making the investment, right, to work with you, I mean, but before we even said yes, even just your breakdowns right away made all the difference. So he completely changed his approach, the steps and all those things, but at the same time, not trying to shove too much in, right? So he got back some steps and things like that, but then the mental piece. So I mean, Coach Hill, you're presenting a very holistic effect, program. Houston is in on that, and so here we are, just 3 weeks in, even with taking a week off, which I would say this kid, this young man, I shouldn't say kid, one of the things he does well, and as a parent, you want your kids to stay engaged, but he understands when to take a break and relax. And I think that's important with anything that you're passionate about, right? So he relaxed a little bit during spring break. He ran a landscaping company for his friend for a week. So he was still getting a workout in and things like that. Still, watching videos, taking it in, working on his mental game. So I'd say if I could speak to each of those areas that he's working on, but you know, for you specifically and your coaching, man, the technique, unbelievable, unbelievable, really good stuff, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. And it's just good to hear, you just observing him and seeing his growth and whatnot. And I'm gonna be honest, like I contacted you guys, I believe last week, and I asked Houston, I said, "Hey, how's everything going?" He's like, "On spring break," and I was like, "All right." I didn't expect you guys to come right off of spring break and to just jump a 2-inch PR, like go
Right.
6'8", and that was that was a big deal, and I know Mr. Nate, you kind of talk about my coaching, like that's a testament to what I do. But at the same time, just a testament to his dedication and just
Right.
will to stay focused. You know, a lot of kids they're not able to stay focused or they get sidetracked. He came off of spring break, went out and PR'd, and we kind of looked at some videos and we saw like he was close to 6'10", right?
Right. He
He,
is. He is.
he almost jumped a 4-inch PR in one meet, right? Like after 3 weeks of focus. And one thing I just want to tell, I kind of just got to talking to Houston about is once we continue to fix some of the things, what I'm saying is he's not a perfect high jumper, right? There is no
Yes, sir.
high jumper. And
Mhm.
for him to have come this far in just, a short period of time and he still needs to work on this and that, the sky is the limit, and I'm just
Right.
really excited to see
Me
how we
too.
keep improving.
Me too. And he owns the process, right? He owns. And so he's doing a good job of holding himself accountable to being on calls and he's I mean again he's always just this young man that improves on the regular things in his life and we try to come along and encourage and getting adequate sleep, all those types of things matter to him.
Yes, sir. And Houston, so I know we kind of talked about your recent success and whatnot. Before you guys, decided to take that step and work with me, what was the main thing you felt like you were struggling on?
I would say for not having a high jump coach starting the year, I didn't really know what I was doing right or wrong. But the big thing I noticed just off watching film is rotating over the bar because it always seemed that the lower half of my body would clip it. I would clear the back, it would be way above, but then the lower part of my body, hamstrings would just tap it or calves.
Right. And yeah, we kind of saw that. And even now, like when I talk about you not being a perfect high jumper, and nobody is. Um, these things you get a little bit better at them each time, and you can get inches in the high jump, right? And I do want to say, Houston, I know your dad kind of talked about just the first call that we ever did. We just kind of went over mental game, we went over technique. What have you seen that's given you the most progress or confidence in your high jump from what I've given you so far?
I would definitely say the most helpful and what's worked the best is the approach. Being able to come from a 7 step, just a little bit extra to a 9, allowing you to bring more speed, have more lean into the curve, and being able to take off up and over. Those definitely help just
Oh yeah.
a lot.
Oh yeah. Mr. Nate, how did you feel about, me switching Houston from that 7 step to that 9?
Well, that was right. I mean, we knew that was needed, but going back to what he was saying, that can be summarized as saying, you don't know what you don't know. And we have we're probably the top track program at Cuthbertson High School in North Carolina. And even with all that effort, if you don't know what you don't know, you got to go find somebody who does. And so here we are with you, right? So right away, being able to break that down. And Houston has done a good job of implementing what you're teaching him without making the high jump coach feel like he's obsolete, because he's not. He's helpful too, right? In a lot of ways, his attitude, his presence, and giving feedback, on those different jumps and things like that. But man, the approach was great, and I think a key thing that you said uh, in the initial meeting was, "Hey, you may not jump as well because you're going to, we're going to change this, and so you're going to have to work through that." And that was absolutely right. So there were a couple of meets he did not clear 6'4", and but he knew as well. He was like, "Hey, I'm going to go out here and try this out." So he was at an 11 step for a minute, right? So he's changed it again, adapted a little more. So man, it's a good process. One thing when a coach says, "Hey, trust the process," but when you're saying, "Hey, here are the things that we're going to actually do. It's not a blind trust, if you will, right? So here's the steps. Trust that when we do those things, you will see results. And that's what's happened here.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I love to hear that. The main one thing I really took away from what you said was you don't know what you don't know, right? And that was a lot of my experience in high school as well. I didn't know what I didn't know, right? And that's what I'm here for, right? To give you guys
Right. Come
some of
on,
that
man.
knowledge, just that high jump knowledge that you didn't know. Because nowadays it's not enough high jump knowledge out there. And you'll have a kid, right? Like a Houston who his PR was 6'6", and when you guys showed me he jumped 6'6" off a 7 step, I said this kid is not a 6'6" jumper, right? It's a whole
Yes,
lot
sir. You did
better.
say that.
He's a whole lot better than that, right? Because that's a shorter approach. So we get him on a 9. 3 weeks later he jumping 6'8", and it's not just 6'8". He almost clears 6'10", right? And I would just pull it up, but it's like it's just the smallest changes and then really focusing on the technique and just understanding a different type of philosophy of the event, it can make big leaps in the sport.
Right, right. I agree. One thing you said was, about the lean and the momentum of, getting back to more steps into it. You said, hey, the all that energy is all about, getting that height, and then the natural physics of things take over, and that takes you over the bar. Is there technique for getting over the bar? 100%. But I could see that in his jump, right? I could see him allowing that to just take place, if you will. So he was definitely putting more energy, obviously, into getting up higher and then just letting that momentum carry him over the bar. So that was really, really strong coaching as well.
Right. Yes, sir. And I know you guys have noticed, like, I'm an approach focused high jumper, like, because I understand, like, and I'm an approach focused coach as well, because I understand, like you said, what we know is high jump is 90% on the ground, 10% in the air. So I really try to teach, all our athletes that, even in regards to the mindset, preparing for the competition, like everything, being able to see bars before you even go into the meets is a big deal,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's a part of the approach in essence, right? So yeah, Houston, would love to hear from you. How did you feel? I know you said you felt really good jumping that new PR recently, but how did you feel attempting 6'10" after clearing 6'8"?
Um, I definitely felt there was a lot going on. Clearing that was just a blessing, and then going right to 6'10", I felt I could do it. Um, I don't know what to go off that.
It was a close jump. It was a great look, right? We saw on that first attempt, you just barely knocked it off, right?
Mm.
And on those next two, like what was kind of going through your mind? Like, were you feeling like, oh, I should have got it on the first one, or were you thinking I'm going to get it on these next two?
I was kind of coming out like I want to get it on this first one. I'm gonna put everything, all my energy, everything into it. So you gotta just warm me out going into those second and third attempts.
Yeah, awesome. That's good to hear. I do want to say, with you guys having nationals coming up, what are you guys looking to do? What are we looking to achieve coming up?
I would say definitely want to be able to clear no matter what. I want to be over 6'6". 6'8" would be amazing to complete at nationals, and then obviously 6'10" for a PR at nationals. That'd be a whole new world if I
Oh
could
yeah,
do that.
oh yeah. You would be one of the top jumpers in the country. Jump
Mhm.
6'10", like you really almost became that recently, right? Which
Yeah.
is great. So I just want you to understand, you have the ability to be able to go 6'10", right? And this is just the beginning. With you being able to attempt 6'10" bars and make them look like that, you will be a 7-footer, right? And it's going to be a great thing to see.
Mhm.
Right. He had jumped 10 times by the time they got to 6'10". So let's say you take 2 or 3 of those away. That's a lot more energy you have at that next level.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So moving forward, I know he came in at 5'10". Was it the first meet after spring break that you guys just did?
It was.
Okay, so I guess that's actually pretty good to get some rhythm and whatnot. But at the same time, moving forward, now like you can start higher, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
With you being really a 6'10" jumper, you starting at not 5, but like 6 feet, going really 6'2",
6'2".
being able to go 6'2", 6'4", 6'6", then 6'8", or starting at 6 feet and going 6'2", like really where you are right now, 6 feet, and when you're feeling good and comfortable, I wouldn't no lower than 6 feet, 6'2", right? But yeah, you have more jumps on your legs, like Mr. Nate said, and you'll be able to have more energy jumping at the 6'10". Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, like I said, so my name is Dontavious Hill, 3-time Team USA high jumper and professional coach now. And I'm here with Houston and Mr. Nate. Houston just came off of jumping 6'8", after having a 6'6" PR and had some great looks at 6'10", just after just joining the program 3 weeks ago. So this is just amazing to hear, great to see, and glad to have you guys a part.
Hey man,
Yes,
thank you,
sir.
coach.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.